Welcome to the Forever Better Academy podcast, where you will be given the principles, tools, and techniques to reach the next stage on your journey of self-mastery. Who could you become? I'm your host, Wade Vincent. Pain makes life better if you let it. Welcome once again, guys. This is Wade Vincent here, and you are with me on the Forever Better Academy podcast, which will give you tools, techniques, and principles to help you guys develop and reach the next level on your own journey of self-mastery. So today, we are talking about the age-old, no pain, no gain. Right? Now, every single one of us in life is going to go through or experience pain. It's like that old saying when they talk about there's only two certainties in life, and that's death and taxes, right? I would throw pain in there as well, absolutely. I don't know anyone that I've ever met or spoke with or come across or had any sort of interaction with in my life that has never felt pain in some way. Now, it awaits all of us. It's a natural part of life, right? So, and most people, you would say, actively avoid pain at all costs, right? You don't find very many people that chase pain or go after pain, right? It's not the most enjoyable thing to go through, right? Right? But it's interesting if you look at like our entire society is framed to basically avoid pain, right? So it's all driven about, making everything easier and I guess removing all forms of friction in our lives, right? Like you think about, like especially from when I was a kid, growing up in the 80s, and there was no internet. Everything was like a manual process, right? There's some like mechanical, advantages and production and machinery in factories and things like that, of course. But there were, like, for example, I can remember times where no one had a mobile phone, right? Like if you went out and you didn't call somebody from a payphone, no one would know where you are. Like there was no way to reach you. Or like when we were kids, if you rang somebody's house, right, their landline phone. I don't even know if many of you are aware of what a landline phone is, or if many people still have them out there. But when we were little and you'd ring someone's house to talk to one of your friends from school, you'd call and be like, "Hey, is Sam there?" And they'd be like, "Oh no, he's gone out with his dad." And that was it. You just hope that he calls you back, or maybe you see him at school. It was a very different thing. Like there was such a difference just from my experience in life so far, where the technologies and things that have advanced and evolved as I've grown, that have transformed my life and billions of lives around the planet. And you think about how much easier so many tasks have become. Like even the littlest things, like in my car, right? I drive a BMW, and it has like a automatic parking. Like you can get the car to park itself. Like it's like automatic wipers. When it senses rain hit the windscreen, it turns them on for you. Like just that stuff, it's not even, those are nice to haves, right? They're not even necessary. Do you know what I mean? Like these aren't even complicated things. If you can't reverse or park a car, you shouldn't be driving a car, right? It's ludicrous, and from my time and experience driving trucks, you learn how to maneuver a big vehicle, right? Like I didn't rely on reversing cameras and parking sensors. You learn how to drive a car, and I'm thankful that I learned how to drive a truck and have had experiences. You should learn to do things before you take the easy road, and then what happens if all those features and and technology fails, then what, people won't drive their cars because they don't know how to reverse them? Like, that's crazy, right? So society has been really, really structured and improved over time for us to absolutely remove as much friction as possible from our lives. Like, and as I say, these aren't even things that are necessary problems to solve. Like, you would think some of these things could be, these technologies could be better used in other ways. But that's beyond the point. What I'm really getting at is all of these things that I've seen as my life has progressed is that the society has done everything it can. We constantly, as a species, work to avoid pain, and anything difficult or challenging, we keep trying to simplify and improve the process. Which there's pros and cons to it, right? It has benefits in that some of the things are absolutely wonderful initiatives that have changed physical labor and dangerous tasks and made things easier and safer for humans. Absolutely, those are good things. Now, the real thing is, the world is full of pain and suffering, right? All these little things that we can prepare and we can build and we can structure and we can invent and create, they're helpful, yes. But there will always be some form of pain or suffering and angst in life. That goes hand in hand with the experience, right, of living. Now, being that the world is full of pain and suffering, right? Now, I don't want people to take that the wrong way, right? I'm not all doom and gloom. I'm very much an optimistic person, and I don't believe that it's just suffering and pain. But there's a balance. There's good in the world and there's bad in the world, right? I'm not naive to that. There's a lot of pain and suffering, and naturally, some of it is bound to come your way. It's the way of the world, right? So you won't always be able to avoid pain. There'll be times where you can make your life more comfortable and have those creature comforts, and as I say, those technologies, and easier, and more freedoms and security and resources at your fingertips. But that there will never be a time where there is no pain in life, and ultimately that's a good thing. It shouldn't be that there's no pain, because that's what we go through, that it helps strengthen us and grow and become better for it, right? Now, unfortunately, also at times humans, we inflict this pain on ourselves from inside too, so you've got to navigate the environment within where you live, and all the sort of things that you have to go through, and outside forces and factors that are outside of your control that can cause pain and suffering in your life and your family and friends and close loved ones. And then there's this secondary element where we inflict pain on ourselves, or we're hard on ourselves, or when we get frustrated or bitter, or we don't think we're good enough, or we compare ourselves to others, and we feel frustration or disappointment or resentment. We even, like, as a species, we inflict pain on ourselves, like, so it's very much immersed in the fabric of how we operate as a society and also as individuals, right? So the pain is always going to be around in some way, shape, or form. Now, the greatest obstacle that we face when it comes to pain and going through our times of despair is really our response to those moments, right? That's a massive obstacle that we place in front of ourselves, right? So with the title of this episode, when I talk about no pain, no gain, this is not a a Schwarzenegger or Gold's Gym bodybuilding reference, right? This, that's where my understanding is that's where it originated from, that saying, right? But there's truth in these sayings that it's reflective of experience in life, right? You imagine what kind of well-rounded and developed individual you would be if you didn't experience any turmoil or pain or challenges or hardships or frustrations in your life. You wouldn't even know how to deal with them when they arose. Like, you imagine going through life and having, say, 30 years of no pain, no, broken hearts, no deaths in your family, no injuries, no, lost jobs, no struggle to put food on the table or make ends meet. Just normal everyday things that many of us experience, right? Imagine, or I should say probably all of us experience. Imagine if you never experienced any of that. And then 30 years down the track, you experience that, one of those things, and it absolutely destroyed you. It ruined you because you hadn't had any training or prior experience in going through that and understanding how to navigate it, how to approach it, how to become better for it. Right? Imagine the difference in the kind of person you would be. I know personally from my experience, I can look back on any challenging or hard time in my life and remember how I felt when it was occurring, and times where where I felt suicidal and depressed and wanted to die and just felt like I couldn't go on. Those times when you're in that moment are gut-wrenching. Like, you don't ever feel like you can make it out of that. The pressure and the weight, that you feel this heaviness in your chest and just this unbearable sorrow, and you don't know where to go from there. And when you rise out of those feelings and moments and experiences, now, like in my going through those things, I can look back on that and I'm thankful for it. Because those are the things that have shaped my character. Those are the things that have helped me to understand how strong I truly am, how much resilience I have, and how I can keep going in those times of adversity. It's character building. It gives you resolve. It teaches you how to be, a man or a woman that has gone through some shit, right? And then when you come out the other side, you're well prepared and experienced and knowledgeable and wise, that you can share those things with your children and guide them so that they have support on their journey. It's important. Imagine not going through any pain or suffering and not being able to provide guidance and support to your children or, say, your siblings or loved ones. Right? Imagine how much frustration and suffering you'd feel in that scenario, not being able to do something about it. Right? It's inevitable, right? No pain, no gain. You've got to go through all these things to make you better for it. Right? Now, the important thing to tie in here, I think, that I want to make a point around is, I don't want it to get sort of forgotten in the fact that I've mentioned there is going to be pain everywhere, right? As I said, every one of us experiences it. There's no avoiding it. We can make life a bit more comfortable. We have, a much nicer existence in developed countries, than we did 30 years ago, and you see most countries are rising and growing, and the ones that especially have resources, middle class is coming up, and you're seeing like the impact of a better life, right? All the people that went through suffering before us so we could have freedoms and we can have these opportunities and we can have these blessings, right? It's generational. You don't even think about like how you deal with pain and how you rise up out of it can travel through time and impact and shape and change the lives of those to come beyond us, right? So what I want to stress is you're going to go through pain no matter what. So pain suffered without benefit is pain squandered, right? It's truly an experience that you've wasted. Now I know that sounds like a strange thing to say, you haven't, made the best of it, but that's what this is truly about, today's episode, right? If you don't get something for your pain, you've wasted it. You've squandered that opportunity, that moment, that experience. You're going to go through it anyway, right? You're going to have these horrible experiences and frustrations and challenges and hurt and just feelings of defeat and crushing despair at times. So get something for it. Why go through it and not learn or grow or develop or become better for it or understand how to avoid those situations again in the future, right? If you know that there's no doubt that you're going to go through some stuff in life like this, get something for it, right? Take it in, absorb it. Like when I was a little kid, my mum always used to say to me, everything happens for a reason, right? And I know people that I speak to that absolutely hate that saying. It's like, oh, of course, everything happens for a reason. It's just like, it's almost like there's no point saying it, or some people feel, right? But for me, saying that helps me to process and understand, even if I didn't understand at the time that this thing was occurring, it gave me strength to get through it, right? Everything happens for a reason. I might not understand why it's happening to me, but I know that it's happening and there's a reason behind it, and soon enough I'll be able to figure out why. And sure enough, as I go through life and look back, everything that I've gone through has shaped me and put me here with you guys today. And I'm better for it. No one enjoys it. I don't like those experiences. I'm not sadistic in that I revel in those feelings, but I'm thankful for them. I appreciate them because I know when you fight through and rise up and come out the other side, how much more powerful and better and capable you are as a person, right? There's another saying that I love, and I think it's a really nice way to frame it is everything that happens for you, not to you, right? And some of you guys may have heard me speak about this in the past, and I think this is one that if you carry these little nuggets, right, these little gems, this gold, these little bits of wisdom, they're like armor, they're resilience, they're these little pieces of ammunition that help support you on your journey and give you that strength, right? If you think about that and you can frame and rewire the way you can sit a pain and how you feel about it, right? And take that and internalize it, right? Everything happens for you, not to you. If you can learn to pick up on when these things occur and you have a moment and you catch yourself feeling this despair or frustration, or that you can't go on with something that's happening, for you, and you look at it and go, this isn't happening to me, it's happening for me. It takes you out of a victim mentality, right? When you start to think things are happening to you, you give them control over you. You're outsourcing control of your own response or your approach, or how you face these challenges. Like you can say, if I'm saying, Why is the world so hard on me? Why can't I do this? Why can't I catch a break? Why don't I have, $1 million in my bank? Why aren't I driving a Ferrari? Why not? Why? That stuff is, you're being selfish. You're so focused on this sense of entitlement that you think or feel that you shouldn't have to go through the things that all of us have to go through. Right? That's absolutely what it is. It's entitlement and selfishness. And if that offends you, then maybe it's a wake-up call that you need to hear, because that's how I felt, and it was the kick in the ass that I needed to hear, Like, you can sit around and mope and be like, why me? And not be any better for it and not get anything out of it. Or you can be like, why is this happening for me? What is this trying to teach me? What do I need to learn? Especially if you've gone through something and you keep having these repeating patterns and the same problems and the same frustrations, and you go through the same torture and hurt over and over, you're not picking up and learning from the lesson that it's trying to give you. Right? If you can reframe it, shift it. What is this trying to teach me? This is happening for me. Why? What do I need to learn? What am I missing? What am I not seeing here? What don't I understand? When you do that, it's a massive shift, because then you're empowered. You're in control of your response to these things, right? That's the obstacle I talked about. You remove it. When you take that obstacle out, being the way you approach it, and you know that you can get something for this pain, and by God, if you're going to go through this and feel this way and hurt and experience just the most challenging things you've experienced that you feel you're never going to make it through, make it worth your while. Why hurt for nothing, right? As I say, we all hurt. We all feel this stuff. We all go through this pain. Make it count. Get something for it, right? And make every experience a benefit to you. This extends beyond that. When you start to absorb this framework or this mindset of how you approach pain and how you navigate your feelings and experiences, right? You can extend this beyond just when you feel the pain, and as I said, everything happens for you. Make every experience a benefit to you. What am I going to take from this? What is it trying to give me? They're gifts, right? Frame it like that. This is not a punishment that I go through these things. When I was in high school, I'll tell you a story when we had, for those of you who aren't aware or haven't picked up on the accent, I'm Australian. I went to a high school for a few years. It was a private school, and they had an American teacher that came over and used to teach, I think it was religion at the time. This is a little while ago, but I remember the story, and that's important, not so much what the subject was. And he told us a story, and this hit me hard. I was probably like 13 years old, and he said to me, there was a family that had a son that had like an accident. He was like into mountain climbing or something like that, right? And he had an accident where he ended up falling and ended up paraplegic, right? This guy's career and his ambition to be great at this sport, he fell and hurt himself and ended up in a wheelchair, unable to continue on, right? That's about as challenging or a reshaping of who you are and your identity, right? When you no longer can walk and do what you set out to do in your life. And this young man, due to complications with the injury, 2 years later passed away. And his parents, instead of being hurt and challenged and frustrated that their child had this horrible injury and then after all that survived and then 2 years later passed away and they lost their son. And their response to that was, thank you, God, for giving us 2 more years with our son. 2 years that we might not have had if he had passed away in that original accident where he became paraplegic. Thank you for those 2 years. Thank you, God, for the blessing of having 2 more years with our son. That stuff still hits me, man. Like, what a way to frame it, right? What a way to be. Can you imagine being that composed and well-rounded as a person to know the gift that you were given? Now, the parents could have quite easily, like, I'm a parent, like when I think about if I was going through that, how might I handle that? Could I be strong enough to have that resolve to approach it like that? Right? Imagine if those parents, could have been like the same, woe is me. Why, God? How have you forsaken our family? How cruel of you to hurt our son and tease us with only a little more time with him and then take him from us. That's selfish, right? But how selfless, innocent, and just beautiful a way to take that and say thank you. How much better do people, like that impacted my life. That was on the other side of the planet when I was a little kid, right? When I was just young, just starting to be a teenager, and this American teacher come over and told us this story, and it impacted my life. Those parents and their approach and how they responded to the pain that they went through, they got something for it, right? They made the most of it. They were thankful they had 2 more years with their son. And I'm telling it to you now. This is what I mean. How far does the reach go? The impact, like maybe someone's listening to this and it's that's the shift you needed. That's what you needed to hear to make you reconsider and understand and think about how you approach your pain. This recording could be watched 100 years from now and impact someone's life with that story, all because of the approach those parents took, right? Deep stuff, right? Now, this is easier said than done. I'll acknowledge that. I'm not here trying to tell you that this is an easy task or it's, I believe anyone can do this, but it takes work like anything, right? Pain hurts, right? We are emotional creatures, and when you go through something, one of the biggest challenges is controlling your emotions, not letting them get out of hand. Experience them, feel them. We have them for a reason. We go through these things. As I say, they build us, they shape us, they mold us into who we are. We have to experience these things. They're our instincts. They help guide how we approach and decide how we move through these experiences. But you can't you can't let them consume you or overwhelm you, right? You have to get a hold of your emotions, experience them, let yourself feel them, and don't let them become controlling, right? So it takes so much practice and emotional strength and resilience. But I tell you this, if there's one thing I know, that no matter what pain you go through, if you make it out the other side, you're still here. You've done it. You're there, like if you're watching this, there's still hope. If you're breathing and you're here with me, there's still hope. Right? No matter how hard it feels, keep your head up. Don't let it get you down. Get something for your pain. Don't let it beat you. You can't. Why? No good comes of that. You've got to keep fighting. That's what this is about, we have to keep going, and we're hearing this together, right? That's what it's all about. Get something from your pain, Practice makes perfect. If you fail and you can't do this the first time, doesn't mean that you haven't achieved it. you're on the right path. You're practicing, you're growing, you're challenging yourself. You're learning how to be thankful for these experiences and make something of them. Keep trying. Don't squander that pain. You're going to feel it. You're going to get something for it, right? Take something for it. Now, whilst you'll never be able to remove pain from your life, as I said, and nor should you want to, because it gives you what you need to gain that strength, that fortitude, right? An insight in how to navigate and use this to better live your life. The more you go through this, the more practice you get at managing how you experience pain, how you see pain, how you feel about the pain that we go through. You start to find it becomes easier and more natural, and it's not as hard because it becomes instinctual. It triggers that feeling, right? When you go through something, you start to it clicks the behavior and the way that you know how you're going to approach this, and you've done something and seen a positive outcome for it. So there's this reward bias. You start to go, okay, that feeling triggers this action, which triggers a good feeling and a reward and a positive from it. And it starts to snowball, right? So keep your head up. Don't give up on this, okay? Now, I love the saying, iron forges iron, right? And every experience you go through makes you stronger and a more well-rounded human being. So at the end of this, you become such a more powerful and greater person that can help shape and change the lives of other people around you. So don't give up, okay? All right? I'm thankful that you guys are here with me, and I hope that this was a powerful lesson for you guys today. This episode means a lot to me, because I feel this is something that can really spark change in people's lives. All the other tips are, there's productivity tips that I'll share with you guys, and there's focus tips and just mindset and the approach to certain things. But I feel this is a big one, right? When you can rise up out of that pain that you go through and know that at the end of it, you'll be better for it because you've taught yourself how to get something from the experience, only way is up. All right? Who could you become? Thank you guys so much for listening. If you know someone that's going through hard times and needs to hear something like this, and it will pick them up and give them the tools that they need to fight through their own battles, please share it with them. Share the video. Share the audio. Let them know, because the smallest actions can have the greatest impact in other people's lives. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you being here. No pain, no gain, okay? Keep moving on, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode next Friday. All right. Thanks again, guys. See you later.